Hey, what's going on, guys? Norsky here. In this video I'm going to be going through the top 10 best SMGs in Battlefield 1. Just like my other top 10 best weapon videos, we are going to go through the top 10 best SMG variants. Currently there is a grand total of 15 different SMG variants in Battlefield 1. Now for the people who watch this video a few months down the road, these weapon variants listed on screen have not come out yet, so keep that in mind. Last thing to mention is this ranking is all based on my opinion, so if you disagree with my list, let me know in the comments and tell me some of your top SMGs in Battlefield 1. Now with that said, let's get this video started. Coming in at the number 10 spot is the M1917 Trench Carbine. Now this gun is in the assault class, but it's not an actual SMG, and it's obviously not a shotgun, but the characteristics of this gun resemble an SMG, which is the reason why I'm putting the M1917 Trench Carbine in this video. This gun is pretty unique. There really isn't any weapon in Battlefield 1 that compares to the M1917 Trench Carbine. Of course, you could compare it to the gun that it's based on, which is the Mauser C96, and even then, they are incredibly different. The accuracy on this gun is one of the best in the game, and it can just melt people. In fact, it has the second highest max damage output for SMGs in Battlefield 1 at 34.73. I'm not quite sure why they don't just round it up to 35 damage instead, but you know, whatever. Honestly, I'm probably ranking this gun a little low on this list because it is a pretty good gun. I think most people tend to ignore the M1917 Trench Carbine because it plays so much different than pretty much all the other guns. If you haven't used this gun, give it a try because it might surprise you how good it actually is. Coming in at the number 9 spot is the Maschinepistole M1912/P16 Storm. Here we have another pistol in this ranking. This gun is tied with the Automatico M1918 for having the fastest rate of fire in Battlefield 1 at 900 rounds per minute. One gun that is very comparable to this one is the Frommerstoff Auto, which is available to the pilot/tanker class. The thing about the Maschinepistole M1912 is it's a super fun weapon to play with. I mean, this gun is somewhat challenging to use, but that is what makes it enjoyable to play with. The wickedly fast rate of fire makes this gun super deadly at close range. The main issue with this gun is it is not very effective outside of close range, and it also only holds 16 rounds in its magazine, so basically it takes a little over a second to empty your magazine, which means you don't have a lot of room for any type of error. Even with some of the negatives, this gun is a blast to use. By the way, this weapon skin looks pretty damn good if I do say so myself. Coming in at the number 8 spot, I have the RSC SMG Factory. This gun has been dubbed by some people as one of the worst guns in Battlefield 1, which in some situations it can be pretty bad. The RSC SMG is a great gun at close quarters, and it's also pretty good in one-on-one situations. It's not a room clear because it only holds 9 rounds in its magazine, although it can just completely destroy people at close range. This gun is the most powerful SMG in Battlefield 1 with a max damage output of 38. Basically between 0 and 12 meters in distance, this gun is a 3-shot kill, which is unheard of for an SMG. The biggest downfall on this gun has to be the super sporadic recoil and bullet spread. When you're spraying this gun, it can be fairly difficult to control, which is why when I use this gun, I try to only spray with it if my enemy is within 10 or so meters of me. In semi-automatic mode, this gun becomes somewhat viable at medium range, but it's still not the greatest. The RSC SMG Factory is a skill cannon which, if you can be accurate and play somewhat smart, you can become a nightmare for your enemies, especially in tight quarter situations. At the number 7 spot, I have a tie between the MP18 Experimental and the MP18 Optical. Starting off with the Experimental, this gun has been the least used SMG in Battlefield 1 for pretty much the entire lifespan of the game. I'm not sure why. My only theory would be maybe because of the 3-round burst. I'm not sure though. Personally, I love this gun. I think it's an extremely underrated gun, which might be part of the reason why I enjoy using it so much. The statistics for the MP18 as a whole are fairly average, although being statistically average isn't necessarily a bad thing because that means this gun doesn't have any major weaknesses. Both the MP18 Experimental and Optical have pretty solid range. I would have to say that these two variants have some of the best control and accuracy at medium and long range out of all the SMGs in Battlefield 1. The MP18 Experimental and Optical are very consistent with how they play and are both just all-around solid SMGs that you can't go wrong with. Moving on to the number 6 spot, I have the Automatico M1918 Storm. I'm sure some people are wondering why I don't have this gun higher on the list. Well, I do think it's a pretty good gun, but it's not quite deserving of being in the top echelon of SMGs, at least in my opinion. It's obviously amazing when it comes to close engagements. The rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute has been the fastest since the release of the game. Now, I might have another Automatico variant higher on this list, but I guess we'll see. As you guys know, Storm variants in Battlefield 1 are the more accurate variants, and they are the variants I tend to prefer because I love super accurate guns, but anything past 15 meters, this gun becomes fairly ineffective. Hip firing with this gun is typically pretty consistent, and its control actually feels pretty good overall. Now, the Automatico Storm is still one of the most effective at close range in Battlefield 1, which is the main reason why it's still one of the most popular guns in the game. Coming in at the number 5 spot, I have the SMG 08/18 Factory. This SMG was not that great when it first came out, but after the huge patch in February, this gun has become one of the best SMGs in the assault class. It has the 3rd quickest rate of fire in Battlefield 1 at 770 rounds per minute. It also has the 2nd largest magazine capacity in the assault class, holding 81 rounds. In kind of a weird way, this gun is similar to the Automatico, only with a much bigger magazine and slightly better accuracy. Don't get me wrong, this gun still has pretty noticeable recoil, and the accuracy is kinda crazy and sporadic to say the least. The SMG 08/18 Factory has pretty much everything you could want in an SMG, which is a great rate of fire, solid hip fire, a huge magazine, and fairly good damage at close range. When put into the right hands, the SMG 08/18 Factory can be a very scary gun at close range. Coming in at the number 4 spot is the Ribeyrolles 1918 Factory. The Ribeyrolles was the first SMG added in through DLC into Battlefield 1, and let me tell you, it has been and still is one of the best in the game. The Ribeyrolles is just a great all-around SMG. I also have to say that it's the most versatile SMG in Battlefield 1. The thing that makes it so versatile is it has a bipod. The bipod makes this thing a laser at pretty much any range. Hands down, this gun has the best overall range out of all the SMGs in Battlefield 1. The damage is right on par with the rest of the SMGs, and the rate of fire is not in the top tier, but I would say it's slightly above average at 550 rounds per minute. Typically this gun won't compete with the Automatico or SMG 08/18 at close range, but it can outduel those two guns at medium and long range with ease. Overall, the Ribeyrolles 1918 Factory is a great SMG and brings more to the table than pretty much the rest of the SMGs in Battlefield 1. Moving into the top 3 best SMGs in Battlefield 1, at number 3, I have the MP18 Trench variant. This gun is probably my favorite SMG in Battlefield 1 just because it does a little bit of everything. It's not quite as versatile as the Ribeyrolles, but it is more accurate overall. The MP18 Trench is just a great gun that gets the job done. Its stats aren't really anything that special, but there's just something about this gun that makes it one of the best SMGs in the game. Just like its other two variants, this gun doesn't really have any major weaknesses because it's generally solid to slightly above average when it comes to the important statistics. I feel like the MP18 Trench fits all styles of gameplay, and I feel that this gun is, for the most part, universally loved by the Battlefield 1 community, which definitely cannot be said about all the SMGs in Battlefield 1. Coming in at the number 2 spot, I have the Automatico M1918 Trench. In my opinion, the Automatico Trench is the best out of the 3. Obviously, it has a lot of the same characteristics as the Storm variant. The biggest difference is the trade-off for worse accuracy and better hip firing. When using the Automatico, you're going to want to have some pretty good hip firing just because aiming with this gun can be a challenge, and the Trench variant offers the best hip firing ability, which is why I prefer it over the Storm. The overall control at close range with the Automatico Trench is almost unfair. There is not a better gun at close range in all of Battlefield 1 than the Automatico Trench, and that's a fact. Well, actually it's my opinion, but still, it's definitely one of the best at close range. I know this gun is not very versatile, but its overall deadliness at close range makes up for that. Obviously, SMGs are built for close quarter situations, and that's why the Automatico Trench is number 2 on this list. Before we move on to the number 1 SMG, we have an honorable mention, which just missed the cut into the top 10 best. The honorable mention goes to the Automatico M1918 Factory. Now, this is the worst out of the 3 variants, but it's not as bad as it used to be. In all honesty, I never really use this gun anymore because if I want to use an Automatico, I'll use the other 2 variants. Alright, now it's time to move on to the number 1 SMG in Battlefield 1, and I'm sure most of you guys already know what gun it is. Coming in at the number 1 spot is the RSC SMG Optical. Alright, I'm joking with you guys. The number 1 SMG is actually the Hellriegel 1915 Factory. I know, this gun is probably the most bipolar gun in the game. Some people love it, some people hate it, but no matter what, everyone can agree that this gun is the best SMG in Battlefield 1, and arguably the best gun in the game. The Hellriegel can do pretty much anything and everything. It's almost unfair. It has a huge magazine, a pretty fast rate of fire, along with really good control for an SMG. Personally, I don't think this gun is as good as it used to be, which is crazy to think because it's still so much better than the rest of the SMGs. Overall, the Hellriegel is hands down the best SMG in Battlefield 1, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Now let me know in the comments what your favorite SMG is in Battlefield 1. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and also if you like this type of content, then hit the subscribe button and become part of the Night Squad. Thanks again guys, and I'll catch you later.